Hey y'all, Miss Kennedy here from Algebra Student. Let's just look at graphing a quadratic that is in vertex form. And that vertex form is great because it's really straightforward as far as figuring out what the vertex is. It's not a long process like it can be with standard form and intercept form sometimes. All right, so vertex form is simply that you take the opposite of whatever number's in the parentheses, and then you take the number at the end. And that creates your vertex. Or that's where your vertex comes from. So the 4 inside the parentheses becomes a -4 as a vertex. And then -3 outside stays -3 in your vertex. So the 4 represents your x value. The -3 is the y value. That's it. So as far as your vertex goes, you're good to go. So go left 4 and down 3, and that's your vertex. And then you have to think about whether it opens up or down. And that is still based on the A value here. And so A tells us that it opens up or down. Well, A is -2. And so I think as you would expect, that negative flips it over. It means that it opens downward. So I know generally that it's going to be something like this. Let's pretend that that's actually like clear and concise and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's not clear and it's not precise or anything like that. So I generally know where it is. I do want to pay attention though that I have a 2 out front that's going to change the shape of the parabola. You know, that 2 is going to be a stretch. And so it's going to take what might look like a normal parabola like this, and it's just going to stretch it so that it's a little bit narrower, a little bit taller, but still has that U shape, still curved. So we'll look at a couple of points to figure that part out. One other thing that almost every teacher is going to have you write is your axis of symmetry. And that just means where you can fold this graph. That's how I think of it anyway. You know, where that axis is, so that all the left side points, the height of those are the same as the height of the points on the right side. So let's see. That's pretty convenient right where it is. I think I'm going to go with that right there. You always draw your axis of symmetry vertically because that's where the axis is a vertical line. What I meant to say is you always write it as x equals, and it's always the x value from the vertex. So that -4 is because the x value of the vertex is -4. That's how I know where my changing point is. That vertex is saying it stops going upward or increasing and it starts going downward or decreasing in this case. So I know that it's going to open downward. Let's look at a couple of points. So let's just create a little XY table. I'm going to put -4, -3 in the middle of that. And I'm just going to get a point to the left and a point to the right. So think about on this, axis here. If, we're at -4, I need this point and this point. So that's 1, 2, 3. So that would be -3. And then on the other side is -5. So those are the other 2 coordinate points that I need to find. And once I plot those, then I'll have a really good sense of, more precisely where this graph is going. So you have a couple of options. So much going on here. Let's go over here to this side. You can plug in with a -3 for x, and then do the same thing and then just do that with a -5. If you have a calculator with a table on it, then you can do that. You can go to table and type it in exactly the way it was presented to you with the x value. +4 squared minus 3. And I want to go to -3. So I'm going to change that. And it shows me -3 is at -5. Whoops, let's put that vertex in the middle because I want you to notice something. So it says that -5 is going to be -5 and -3 is going to be -5. And notice that vertex in the middle, the y values are showing symmetry around that vertex. So maybe you can see it better here. -5, -5. These are the same. And if you are the same distance away from the vertex on this side, like these are, then these are going to be the same number. And so let's look at that as we graph it. Let's go back to the blue. So -3, -5 would be here. And -5 would be here. Let's slide this up some. And so we can see that now we're just sketching. This is not precise, not super exact or anything, but it does have a couple of points there. Now, first of all, does that open downward? Yeah, that opens downward. So that helps us to see that we're probably on track. If we had gotten points and then our graph was opening upward, well, then we'd have to shake our heads and go, wait a minute, something's not right here. But it lines up with what we knew should be true because A was a negative. So it looks good. It's not beautiful, but it does the job. And it is a little bit of a stretch in terms of a vertical stretch here, where it's stretched a little bit taller in a sense than a typical U shape would be, where it might appear a little differently than that. All right, I hope this helps.